Welcome to Our Cottage Ways. This is your cozy corner for all things homemaking, hospitality, and heartwarming living. Here we celebrate the beauty of cottage style while diving into home renovation projects, cooking segments, creative decor ideas, and simple ways to make your home a place of warmth and welcome. From fresh recipes that bring people together to DIY projects that breathe new life into your space, this channel is all about turning ordinary days into extraordinary moments. Whether you love vintage touches, modern cottage inspiration, or simply finding joy in the everyday, you'll feel right at home here. So grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and let's build a home and life we love together. Okay, let's get started on our asparagus soup. We are using a red onion today. That's what I have on hand, but you can use any onion that you have in your kitchen. It would be great with a sweet Vidalia, white, yellow onion, whichever you have. You could even add a little bit of green onion too. I like to add that to a lot of my soups just because of the brightness that it offers, and I add it along with other onion that I'm using. So I start with cutting the ends off of both sides of the onion and then split it in half. It helps to get the peel off. And then we're just going to do a rough chop on the onion today because we're going to be using an immersion blender. This will be more like a bisque. It'll be a smooth, brothy soup. On the brothier side. There is cream in it, but it is not by any means a thick soup. So over a medium heat, this is an enameled stock pot. We're going to add about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Let that warm up a little bit, and then add our onion. And we try to avoid that little piece of peel there. And we're going to just let that soften up while we get our garlic ready. I like to use fresh garlic just because I know it's fresh. The jarred stuff and the already peeled garlic comes in such a large quantity, I can't use it fast enough before it goes bad. So I usually just use fresh cloves. And you'll notice that I am laying my knife down on the side, and I'm using my fist or the heel of my hand to hit it a few times, and that helps release the peel off the garlic clove and just makes it a lot easier to get that paper off. I'm going to do a rough chop to the garlic as well and add that to my stock pot. You don't want to have too high of a heat here because you could burn the garlic. So to avoid that, just stir it often and keep your heat on the lower side after you add your garlic. Next, we're going to add some butter. I use butter and olive oil. It just helps keep the butter from burning if you use them in conjunction with each other. We're going to do 4 tablespoons. This is a European style butter. It's what I have on hand. So we'll add all 4 of those butter pats. We'll let them melt a bit. And then we're going to just stir it up a little bit. You'll notice that there are some brown spots in the pan. We actually want that. That is actually caramelization, and it adds a lot more flavor to our soup. I feel like in the olden days, soup was always, a pot of water boiling and then you throw everything in. I really love to start my soups with a saute process just because you get so much more flavor out of the veggies, especially the garlic and onion. Next, we're going to prepare our asparagus. And you'll notice that I'm grabbing a small handful at a time And asparagus has a natural breaking point. You want to break off that bottom section. It's a very hard, woody area that you don't want to eat that part. So we're just going to break that off, getting it ready to chop up to add to our pot. Once again, we will do a rough chop, which means it doesn't have to be perfect. It's getting blended up, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like before it goes into the pot. Just want to keep the sizes pretty even, just so that it all cooks up about the same amount of time. And that's with pretty much any vegetable that you're using for a soup or a stew. If you keep them in about the same size, they will cook about the same amount of time. So we're going to add our fresh asparagus. I've never used canned. You could try it if you like, but I just really prefer the fresh while it's in season. I just happened to find it at the grocery store this week and knew that this is what I wanted to do with it. So we'll add that to our pot. Our garlic and onion are looking really good. I see lots of little brown bits, not burnt bits, just brown bits at the bottom of my pot. And I know that that is just going to mean a lot more flavor for this soup. Stir that up a bit. And we're going to add an organic chicken base. I believe Costco, Whole Foods has this brand. You can follow the directions for whatever quantity you're making. We are doing about 4 cups of the stock today. Just stir that up. We'll add that in kind of slowly, but we really want to let that release some of those bits down from the bottom. We'll add a little bit more water to finish up that base that was left in my measuring cup. Stir that around, release all those flavors. You'd really be amazed what a difference sauteing your veggies for your soup is going to make. So we're going to simmer that for about 15 to 20 minutes. Let it get those veggies good and soft. And then come in with our immersion blender. This is a heat-safe blender, but I do want to turn my heat either off or down to its lowest setting before doing this, because I don't want to keep cooking the soup as I'm doing this. And you're going to want to blend it for 2 to 3 minutes or until it's blended thoroughly. You really want the consistency to be smooth. You don't want any chunks of veggies left. And I'd say 2 to 3 minutes is good consistently. And that's looking really good. It won't, don't worry about it foaming up or anything. We're going to add some Redmond's real salt. I found Redmond's a few years ago and haven't turned back. But you are more than welcome to use any salt that you have on hand. I just love this. It just adds so much to the food. Next, add your cream or milk, or if you prefer a dairy-free option, use whatever unsweetened milk that you prefer. And then just keep stirring. Keep it on the lower setting while you're adding your milk. You don't want to turn it up high here because you don't want to scald your cream or milk. Then we're going to add some fresh lemon juice. I usually squeeze it into my hand to make sure that no seeds go in. There were no seeds this time, so that was great. Add a little bit of celery salt and fresh cracked pepper. Stir it up a bit and go ahead and add your lid again and let that simmer just a little bit more while we are making our turkey cranberry sandwiches. Now, this one is definitely a family favorite. When my son heard that I was making these this week, he requested that I make them again for him. So we're going to start with a Honeycrisp apple. I prefer using Honeycrisp for basically everything I'm cooking, except maybe my apple crisp recipe, which usually has Granny Smith and apple crisp or any kind of good baking apple. But we are going to slice our apples fairly thin, just so that it helps keep our sandwich together. Because if you use something too big, it's just going to slide right off when you take a bite. And I can't help but sample some of the apple when I've got a fresh apple cut. Next is some whipped cream cheese. You can use a block of cream cheese if you prefer. You just want to make sure that it's softened or out at room temperature before you blend this for your spread. We're going to add about a half of a can of whole cranberries to our mixture. And basically, we're turning this into cranberry cream cheese. And for these sandwiches, I'm using a Cinnamon Raisin Bread. But if you prefer a sourdough or a wheat or something like that, you could also add some cinnamon to this mixture, which actually makes it amazing. I don't need to do that today because I'm using the Cinnamon Raisin Bread. But once that is all mixed up, you can go ahead and start spreading it on your sliced bread. And I like to just do a not thin layer. I like a creamy sandwich, and this one especially because the cream cheese is so flavorful. But just spread it across the entire piece, and then I add a couple slices of apple, and then 3 to 4 slices of turkey per sandwich. I'm making this one for my husband just so that it's a little bit heartier. I'm making it a triple decker. And because I'm serving it with a lighter soup, this is definitely not a super thick, hearty soup. So I'm making my sandwich a little heartier for him. So once I've got the sandwiches assembled, well, I got his out of the way. Now we're going to make a couple more. And I'm going to do it assembly line style. You can see that it's probably a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons per slice. You can do whatever you like. This is just how I like to do it. I spread it out across the whole piece of bread so that every bite gets some of the spread. And then we go in with the apple slices. You can see the size of the slice there. 2 to 3 per base of the sandwich. And then we're going in with the remainder of our turkey. I really love a fresh sliced turkey, a boar's head or an Applegate, something like that. But you could also use leftover turkey from Thanksgiving to make these sandwiches. This would be a great alternative to your leftovers, to using that for your leftovers. We've even considered doing that in place of the traditional turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. We'll see if we can do that this year. We really love our side dishes too. So next, in my cast iron skillet, I'm going to melt a little bit of butter. I'm using the European butter again because that's what I have on hand. But you can use anything you like. Just put a couple of tablespoons of that in your warm skillet and just let it melt a little bit so that we can spread it around our pan. And here you can see what those sandwiches look like. And you're not cooking these all the way through. Everything in your sandwich is cooked. You just basically want to get your bread good and grilled. So I'm spreading my butter around, and traditionally you would spread the butter on the bread, but this bread is kind of soft, so I chose to do it in my pan and then add my sandwiches. You want to do about 2 minutes on each side on a medium to low heat. You don't want to scorch them because cast iron gets pretty hot anyway, but they just look so delicious. I'm so excited. You can see they're golden brown, and this bread is a little soft, a sourdough. You could probably go ahead and spread your butter, but that didn't work out for me today. And here's our soup. It has simmered on low while I was cooking my sandwiches. It's thickened up nicely, and it's just looking so good. I'm so excited to have some soup today. We finally have some fall weather. There's a nice crisp chill in the air. It's raining a little bit, and this is definitely soup weather. I'm really excited. We'll get that plated up, get the triple decker cut and plated for the hubs who just came in from work, and we'll be very excited for this dinner. And I love to do simple dinners during the week. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I also love to cut my sandwiches on the bias there so that they're easier to eat. And that just looks so warm and comforting right now. It's making me really excited for soup weather. And we will be having a soup of the week, so stay tuned for our upcoming soups that we'll be sharing. Perfect for the season. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've loved having you. Let us know what you think of the recipe. Let us know what you think. Thanks again for joining, and have a wonderful day.